Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a journey through a classic tale of, well, cosmic FOMO, the fear of missing out. We're looking at a brilliant piece of poetry called The Man in the Moon Came Down Too Soon. It explores exactly what happens when the grass, or, the earth in this case, looks way, way greener from far away. It's a masterful study of grand expectations just crashing headfirst into harsh realities. Okay, let's dive into this and explore the very beginning of our protagonist's journey.
So, I want you to ask yourself, what happens when you literally have absolutely everything, but you still want more? I mean, the man in the moon lives an existence that sounds like the absolute peak of luxury. He walks in silver shoon, called silver shoon here. He's got a beard of silver thread. He's crowned with opals, wrapped in pearls, and he literally carries a crystal key to an ivory door. It's a world of just immense, glittering wealth. But, as the poem says, in diamonds white he had lost light. Because, honestly, his existence, despite dripping in priceless jewels, is utterly hollow. He's just bored.
Moving on to Section 1, a monochromatic lunar prison. And this brilliantly illustrates the sensory juxtaposition that is just driving him crazy. Think about it. In his lunar life, everything is cold, white, and silver. Opals, pearls, crystal, moonstone. It's gorgeous, sure, but it's completely sterile. There's zero life to it. Meanwhile, what he is desperately craving is entirely different. He doesn't just want different sparkly rocks. He wants rubies, emeralds, sapphires, stones with deep, living color. He wants fire. He wants living hues and hot food. He's essentially trapped in this black and white movie, and he's up there desperately watching the Earth play out in full Technicolor. This right here is the ultimate cosmic case of modern FOMO. He's utterly isolated. He's tired of his tall moonstone minaret that just towers all alone on a lunar mountain. He is terribly lonely with absolutely nothing to do. But, worst of all, he can look down and see us. He stares at this distant, humming world of gold rolling gaily by. So he's stuck, pacing up and down a glimmering, filigree stair of hair, while down below, it sounds like the greatest party in the universe is happening, completely without him. Let's move to Section 2, Yearning for Earthly Fire, and see how this builds into an active obsession.
You can practically feel the passion and energy bursting out of these lines. He is totally sick of the limpid lights of wan selenites, those pale, ghostly moon dwellers. He wants crimson and rose and ember glows. He wants the scarlet skies of a swift sunrise on a stormy day. He'd have seas of blues and the living hues of forest green and fen. But it gets even deeper than that. He yearns for the mirth of the populous earth and the, quote, sanguine blood of men. He wants life that is hot, loud, and red. And this obsession, it extends all the way down to his stomach. Up on the moon, he's eating pearly cakes of light snowflakes and drinking thin moonshine. I mean, it sounds delicate, freezing, and entirely unsatisfying, right? Earth offers exactly what he's dreaming of. Viands hot, flowing wine, rich meat, pepper, and punch galore. This isn't just about the scenery anymore. This is a visceral, physical craving. He's literally twinkling his feet just thinking about hot pepper and punch. This hunger is exactly what motivates him to finally ditch his urgent moon. Which brings us to Section 3, the clumsy meteor fall, a total loss of dignity. So his rapid loss of dignity happens in stages. He doesn't majestically descend to earth like some god. No, he gets so distracted thinking about meat and pepper that he literally trips unaware on his slanting stair. He falls, flickering down like a meteor through the night sky. And where does this grand celestial being make his entrance? In a foaming bath in the windy bay of Bel. To make matters worse, as dawn approaches, he's found far afloat by a fisherman's boat. He's caught in their net, shimmering wet in bluey whites and opal lights, and, totally against his wish, they pack him back to land like he's just part of the morning fish haul. The crew is amazed for sure, but man, he has entirely lost his agency here. On to Section 4, a very cold welcome, right after hitting dry land. His grand expectations just completely crash into this stark, cold morning reality. There is not a hearth laid, there's no breakfast made. The dawn is cold and damp. He wanted burning fire and living hues, right? Instead, he gets ashes for fire and mire for grass. He wanted the scarlet skies of sunrise, and he gets a smoking lamp in a dim back street. He wanted songs and mirth, but everyone is asleep. There are snores instead of songs. The entire town is completely oblivious to his arrival.
Just imagine the desperation here. He gave up his entire lunar kingdom for this. He wanders the dim back streets, knocking as he passes on fast-locked doors. He calls and cries out in vain. He's searching frantically for that warmth, that connection, that fire he imagined. It is such a lonely, pathetic image, wandering until he finally spots a single light at a local inn and taps at the window pane. Welcome to Section 5, The Great Porridge Swindle, a very transactional deal. So, the man in the moon announces himself with his grand, poetic demands, crying out, "I want fire and gold and songs of old and red wine flowing free." But contrast that with the cook's reaction. The cook just gives him a leer. He flat out tells him, "You won't get them here." The cook notes that he lacks silver and silk, and seeing this glittering, naive creature at his door, he realizes he can absolutely exploit the moon man's desperation. It's rough. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the terrible transactional deal he makes. He gets fleeced piece by piece. Just to get the cook to lift the latch, he has to hand over a silver gift. To step past the door, it costs him a pearl. To get a seat by the fire, an inglenook, it costs him 20 more pearls. Keep in mind, these are priceless celestial jewels we're talking about. And finally, driven completely mad by hunger and drought, he trades both his crown and his cloak just for a bowl of food. And what does he actually get for pawning his royal lunar attire? So the crucial point is, this brings us to the ultimate punchline of his entire journey. For his crown, his cloak, and his jewels, he gets old, cold porridge, 2 days old, served in a broken, smoke-blackened earthen pot, which he has to eat with a wooden spoon. He gave up a kingdom of diamonds and crystal for old porridge. Why? Because as the text says, "For puddings of Yule with plums, poor fool, he arrives so much too soon." He fell out of the sky before Christmas. He was simply too impatient to wait for the feast he had been dreaming of. Let's summarize the core takeaway of his journey. The poem calls him an unwary guest on a lunatic quest. It's a brilliant play on words, right? Luna, meaning moon, of course, but it connects his literal physical journey to the universal human trap of romanticizing the unknown. He let his expectations and his boredom drive him to a foolish adventure, completely unmooring him from the safety of the mountains of the moon, only to be thoroughly disappointed and, honestly, exploited by the reality he found. Which leaves us with this final thought. The man in the moon had the right idea. He wanted warmth, connection, and life. But his impatience and his totally ungrounded grand expectations caused him to trip, fall, and lose everything for a bowl of cold porridge. So I ask you, what is the cost of rushing your own journey? Think about the times your own impatience or romanticized expectations might have tripped you up on the stairway. Thank you for joining us for this explainer, and until next time, keep your expectations grounded and maybe wait for Yule before you give away your pearls.